Very good evening. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. We are doing chapter 27, Bestowal of Grace. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra, my most humble obeisance. I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Maa. We'll continue from where we stopped yesterday, and I'm going to begin with the questions which Madhav asked Sai Baba, and let us see what does Baba responds. So Madhav at once said to Sai Samarth, Baba, why do you make such differentiation? You push aside the offerings of others. Sometimes even the silver plates of some, you just fling away. But no sooner this lady's offering comes, you at once get up and start eating. It is really a wonder. How only her food is so very delicious is, oh God, a great mystery to us. What is this jugglery of yours? Why do you entertain such likes and dislikes? So this is the question which Madhav asked Baba. So let us see what Baba answers. Baba said, O Shama, how can I describe the rarity of this food offering? In a previous birth, this lady was a well-fed cow of a grocer, yielding abundant milk. She then disappeared somewhere and took birth in the house of a gardener. Later, she was born a Kshatriya, the warrior race, and was then married to a grocer. After that, she was born in a Brahmin household. I saw her after a long time. Let me eat in peace and happiness. 2 morsels offered to me with so much love. So saying, he ate to his heart's content, washed his hands and mouth, expressing his satiety most naturally through belching. Then he came and sat on his seat. The lady then made obeisance and began pressing his feet. Taking this opportunity, Baba spoke to her lovingly of things of her own interest. Like I said yesterday, that there is a reason why the great masters will accept food or any other such offerings from some of the devotees or disciples. There is a very, very profound truth behind it. We cannot understand why they do what they do. So never question or judge. In this case, Baba has very clearly explained her past births. So which means he is all-knowing. He knows everybody's past, present and future too. So how they confer grace on someone, how do they bless, how do they initiate, we don't know. Now Baba is going to speak to her that which will take ahead or on her path of spiritual. With his own hands, Baba gently pressed her hands that were pressing his feet. Seeing this mutual loving service of God and his devotee, Shama then began to tease, saying, well, Baba, very fine. What an interesting sight. Seeing this reciprocal feeling, we are amazed. Baba was pleased at heart to see her devoted service and said to her softly, keep on saying, Raja Ram, Raja Ram. See how beautifully Baba so quietly initiated her. It is the Guru Mantra. When I say Guru Mantra, see, Guru Mantra are not usually supposed to be revealed. You should never know that. You can never just openly say it. But in this case, Baba is just giving a generic mantra that is suitable for her on her path to evolve in the path of devotion. So he says, just say, keep on saying Raja Ram, Raja Ram. So that is her mantra. So she needs to take the name, that is Naam. And once she does this, she attains this divine being. And that is how Baba instructed her so beautifully. Saying this all the time, and oh mother, your life will be fulfilled, your mind will be at peace, and you will benefit immensely. How sweet is this? And you know what, in the previous verse, if you listen, what did Baba do? Baba also pressed her hands, that which was pressing his feet so lovingly. You know, this is how the great master actually works and he behaves, and you can't even understand why does he do what he does. You know, this is how my Krishna Guruji is also. very lovingly every single morning. He will make breakfast with his own hands. And during some of the festivities, my Guruji will make the Naivedya. We call it goat shira. Yesterday, in fact, this lady offered, in that it is mentioned, goat shira. It's a sweet dish made of semolina. It's called rava. My Guruji makes it so, I don't know what's the word to it. It's out of the world. It's not just the taste. There is divine touch to it when he makes it from his own hands, and that's the Naivedya we always offer. And nobody can make like him. That's a very unique taste, and there is certain measurements he follows. He does it in a particular manner, and you have to do it in a very we say sovla. You have to take bath, you have to clean the whole kitchen, and after everything is cleaned, and the first thing you make that Naivedya, and then it is offered as the Maha Naivedya to the God, and then once that is done, then we accept it as prasad. That is how we do the offering. So my Guruji makes it so nicely. The taste is not how you can make it, or you can buy it from the stores. The taste is based, it comes from his love. I don't know how to really explain what I'm trying to say, but that's just an experience. I think there's so much of divine touch to it. It's so beautiful. Just that eating that prasad will purify your heart, your mind, and that itself is a blessing, and will make you evolve on the path of spiritual. Such is the greatness. So we all must be blessed to have these prasad or the Naivedya cooked by these great gurus themselves. In fact, I think there's one chapter in which we will also learn how Baba used to, there's a handi, and how he used to cook food and serve everybody. This is one of the most beautiful things which every master will do. So coming back, and in this, see how nicely he's also pressing her feet. These are very unique ways how the great masters do something to their to some of the devotees. And why it is, you cannot question, and there is no point in feeling jealous. Like, it's not Shama is jealous here. He's just asking Baba, oh, look at you, look, you're just doing this to her. What a unique sight it is. How cutely Shama is saying this. But that is how the great masters work. I've seen my Guruji, he'll just take some beautiful book from his bookshelf and then just say, okay, go read this. There's a different things he does. And to someone he'll buy something, or to somebody he wants to give Radha Krishna idol, and then he'll go buy it and come and then offer it to her, him, whoever that is, right? That's how he does. It is very, very unique. You can't even fathom that. But behind all of this, there is very beautiful love. That's a blessing, and that's always a grace. Anything to be getting from the hands, from Guru with his blessing is always a boon. You must be very lucky to get that. I always say this, in some life, like Baba mentions, right, you have accumulated merit, and that is why today I'm there with my Guruji, serving him, and have an opportunity to learn under him every single day. And today he's chosen this body as an instrument to be able to doing this satsang, doing this Parayan of Sai Baba. How grateful I can ever be. No words can ever convey the heartfelt gratitude and gratefulness that I feel for my Gurudev. So let's come back. How wonderful were those words. They smote the heart at once, as if merely by those words Baba had instantly passed on the divine power to the devotee. So compassionate is this Sainath, the patron of the humble and the obedient, that he always fulfills the desires of his devotees and ensures their spiritual welfare. Absolutely. I very lovingly and humbly wish to make a friendly entreaty to my listeners in their own interest. Intent on the sweetness of the jaggery, an ant will not let go of it, even if it means breaking her neck. Such should be your absolute surrender to Sai. Then will Sai protect you graciously. Absolutely, your faith has to be 100%. Absolute faith. You cannot have even 1%. It's not about 99.99%. It is that 100% faith in your Gurudev. That is what you always need to have, and hold his feet no matter what happens to you. Never let go of him. Never let go his feet ever. Be lost in that devotion. Every single day, no matter what happens through the day, right? Running this worldly life, the material world matters, work, so many other things. But the moment that the satsang has to be done, I have to study the Sai Satcharita Parayan. It's the most beautiful moment of my day, the day and my life. It's the best thing. And my Guruji today, he was saying, "Oh, can you do the satsang or not?" It's very funny. I was just telling him, "Look, I'm so tired, been running pillar to post since morning, calls, it's just been crazy time, it's madness." "Oh, so are you capable of doing or not? Maybe we can cancel?" I just need to know. It is his way of asking. He really doesn't mean any of those, He is just trying to tell me, "Oh, you can cancel it." No, he will not like even one day of satsang being missed. That is how disciplined my Guruji is. The one thing that he will stand up even at any point in time, day or night, it doesn't matter, or 24 bars when he can sit and do satsang. That is all he cares about. That is what his intensity is in spirituality. How sweet. Because he's Parabrahma, the God Almighty himself. What else can they, offer to you? What else can they, teach you? Nothing but this knowledge. This is what will help you evolve on the path of spiritual and, relieve you of the bondage from the material worldly existence. And then you will be on autopilot. Whatever happens through the day, it doesn't even matter. As I'm speaking, it's just tears of joy. Something happens in my heart. No matter what my day is, I just say, Krishna Arpan, that's all I tell. What has to be will be. Why am I bothered? He knows everything. What has to be, everything will work out fine. And that's magical, It's so beautiful. And then you just have to keep doing your job very, very, in a very precise manner. You have to be very good in what you're doing. Absolute discipline, and also in a clockwork precision. Timing is more important. And that is where we all have to, strive to excel and perfect ourselves. Intent on the sweetness of jaggery and will not let go of it. So please never ever let go of this Gurudev. The Guru and his devotee are not separate. Though they appear to be separate, they are one. He who tries with great effort to separate them will ultimately have to give up his conceit. If you find one of them without the other, the Guru is imperfect, and so too is his disciple. But he who is trained by a perfect Guru will hold his silence on this matter of duality between them. Absolutely. That oneness with your Gurudev will be definitely experienced when you are trained by a real master, not by any other. I think you can listen to my satsang in earlier chapters. We have spoken about the Niyat Guru and Aniyat Guru, who is a real spiritual master. And also you must go listen to my Krishna Guruji's Das Bodh satsang. In that, there has been so many different chapters where Samarth Ramdas Maharaj has very beautifully explained how to recognize a real spiritual master. And just yesterday and day before yesterday, my Guruji did, who is a Mahant. In fact, yesterday's satsang. You should go listen to it. Very, very beautifully described the characteristics, the qualities, and how do they behave. And that is the mark of recognizing a real Guru, not anybody else. Don't go by all these advertisements, whatever you see in the material world, all this glamour, people having conglomerates, or they just wearing some nice fancy costume. That doesn't define a real master. The real master is absolutely simple. He's just like a childlike being. He'll act sometimes like a madman too. That's why they call him a spiritual mad person. A real Gurudev also behaves sometimes like a madman. You cannot fathom his ways, how he behaves, why he behaves that way. So you can recognize them like that. So he will project different personas in front of you. But then you will have to understand that this is who the real master is. No matter how much I explain, you will still not understand until you yourself experience that. But to experience that, you need to learn how do you recognize them when they appear in front of you. So go listen to the Dasabodh Satsang by my Krishna Guruji. If you find one of them without the other, the Guru is imperfect, and so too is his disciple. But he who is trained by a perfect Guru will hold his silence on this matter of duality between them. Those who feel that Guru stays at one place and his disciple at another, and hence they are separate, know not the truth. If they are not two at all, then how can they be separate? One just cannot stay without the other. Such is their oneness. Absolutely true. They are the two sides of the same coin. The Guru and the disciple complement each other. They cannot be separate from each other. I will once again narrate my own beautiful experience. Like I said, when I was in Singapore, I was very sick one time. Rather, there's been many such instances. I was completely sick. I was vomiting. I have loose motions. I have high temperature. I couldn't even get up from my bed. In that dire condition, I was only chanting my Guruji's name. I literally constantly chanting. I told him I'm very sick. And then he said, go to the doctor, get the medicine and do the needful. So in that, I went to the doctor and I came back and he says, you take rest, you eat something and take rest. At that moment you feel you're helpless. That is the moment I've realized the strength of my Gurudev. The strength of who my Krishna Guruji is. That divinity, that inner strength. Even in that worst situation, I've been able to do everything. And after having medicine in my high temperature, I used to keep chanting his name, and I just fell asleep. In that moment, that the state of between falling asleep and my wakefulness, I saw my Guruji sitting right next to me in the bed and caressing my head, taking care of me, saying, you go to sleep, nothing to worry, I am with you, why are you worried? I'm always with you, where have I gone? Why are you thinking that I'm not there? I could literally feel him, I could experience him in his astral body. That is the power of your Guru Bhakti. You need to have that intense devotion to your Gurudev. He will be anywhere. When you just call him, he's right there. But don't expect like he has to be in the same physical form that you see him. Not necessary. He can take any form and come in front of you. But you need to have the eyes to see that. And that is when you have to seek the grace of the great divine master to, bestow upon you that grace to recognize him when he comes. Similar is with the divine almighty himself, right? When God comes in whatever form, you need to be able to recognize. The one form is the Guru himself. That is what Lord Shri Krishna has so beautifully said, that I am the very self of the teacher, the master. When you worship the master, I am pleased, and it is equivalent to worshipping me. And I bow and touch the feet of those devotees and disciples who have surrendered unto the lotus feet of their gurus. This is the very important lesson. Never ever forget that. So this is what happened, So I could see him in everything. There is not a moment that I could feel like my Gurudev is not with me. Yeah, you pine like you want to be physically with him. That's a different pining. But this is called Viraha Bhakti as well. When you when you earn so much from your heart, I want my Guruji, I know I love him so much, but in that oneness within, that's called Viraha Bhakti. That means that's the highest form of devotion too, that you pine for him. Viraha is love, devotion in separateness. That's beautiful. That viraha is so intense that you crave for him. There's another thing that I have to explain to you. My Guruji will be right in front of me, and yet I will crave for him. That's the very sweetest thing that can happen. I'll tell my Guruji, can you believe that you're sitting right in front of me? And I'll tell him, I miss you, Guruji. How I have never understood that, but that's the form of devotion. It's beautiful. You can experience so different things. He can be right in front of me, yet I will crave for him. Many of them think that, I'm so privileged to be with my, with my Gurudev. It's not that I get all the time during the day. Yeah, we are doing activities. He's around. Definitely, yes. I will never discount that fact. But yet, there's something I will miss. There's something I keep pining for him. I will be sitting with him and I'm crying. I love you, Guruji. In my heart, this goes on. It's a weird state. And I don't know why it is, what it is, but I'm not even going to go and decipher it. But it's the sweetest state to be in. That's devotion. And you have to evolve. Doesn't mean I have ever achieved anything. You know, you have to be this 24/7. That is all you need to find. Waking moments, sitting, sleeping, eating. That's the only thing that you need to think about. Nothing but your, you know, your lotus feet of your Guruji. That is all you need to think about. There is no separateness between the Guru and his devotee. 2. They are always united in spirit. The devotee placing his head on the Guru's feet is really a form of worship of the physical body. The devotee worships with a feeling of oneness, and the Guru also looks upon the devotee as being one with him. Unless there is such perfect oneness with each other, the whole exercise will be only for namesake. Absolutely. See, this is another way of recognizing that you are with the real master, because this is only what is mentioned here, that oneness is only experienced with the true master and nobody else. Let me tell you this much. Nobody else you can get this kind of experience. You might meet hundreds of gurus, but if you cannot experience something like this, then please know that that individual who you think is a guru is not a real guru. That much I can vouch. I'm not saying myself, but this is quoted. I'm quoting this from Sai Satcharita, and every other scripture that same thing has been mentioned. Do not worry even for a moment how you will get the material necessities of life, like food and clothing, for it comes according to your prarabdha and comes without effort. Most important thing. See, here a very important point is mentioned, and let me emphasize on that. Do not worry even for a moment how you will get the material necessities of life. Material necessities. They are not saying the God or divine almighty or your Guruji is going to give you riches and wealth and all that, or your comforts or your luxuries. No. Not even your wants or desires. It is said necessities. The basic necessity of life. He's not even talking about shelter here. He's only saying about food and clothing. Only these two things will be given to you. It will come to you effortlessly. But if you need a shelter, if you need every other thing, you have to work hard for it. It is not going to be given to you on platter. And don't think that, oh, somebody is bestowing the grace upon you. No. And here it is very beautifully mentioned. For it comes according to your prarabdha. Please know this. It's only according to your prarabdha karma. Nothing less, nothing more. So don't even think that, oh, why is somebody getting, I'm not getting. You know, we always have this mentality. I've also gone through, oh, my Guruji has blessed somebody else and I didn't get. It's a process, but you have to overcome that. You have to be extremely thankful for whatever he blesses you with, and be very contented. The truth, you need to feel that truth, contentment with everything that you have in life. Please know this. No matter how much you have, you cannot eat beyond what you can stomach, intake. Nothing more than that. You can only wear so many number of clothes. What can you do otherwise? What use is it if you don't have that good health? If you do not have that trupti in you, there is no point. How much ever you have, you'll always be a discontented person. There will be no, forget about happiness. Happiness is a state of mind. It's about feeling that bliss, feeling that goodness at heart. Nothing comes. So here it is very beautifully mentioned. So, for it comes according to your prarabdha and comes without effort. So, food and clothing comes to you without effort. But it is only based on your prarabdha karma. If you make a great effort to acquire these, your exertion will be in vain. Instead, make efforts for your spiritual progress and concentrate on it day and night. Oh my God, this is like a slap on our face. I will read it once more. Please listen to it intently. If you make a great effort to acquire these, your exertion will be in vain. Instead, make efforts for your spiritual progress and concentrate on it day and night. See, we don't have to run after trying to get the best clothes or food and all that. What comes to you will definitely come to you. This is what it's mentioned. And don't put so much effort. Don't exert yourself. Use that energy. Exert for day and night for your spiritual will. That will redeem you from all the miseries from this material worldly existence and the bondage, the worldly life bondage. You will cut asunder all that and then evolve on the path of spiritual, which is the highest wheel that you can ever have of taking this human birth, having born with a human body. It's very, very important that you not only redeem yourself, but everybody associated with this body. You are giving them that moksha too. Arise and awake. Why do you roll, snoring in deep slumber? So cries Mother Shruti at the top of her voice, trying lovingly to awaken the devotee. How sweet. Of course, yes. Every scripture is saying the same thing. Awake, why are you so lost in that material worldly muck of yours? You know, you're enjoying. There's a very beautiful story which my Krishna Guruji will always narrate about. The Varaha avatar, the pig avatar of Vishnu, where once he's finished with the purpose of that avatar, and once his work is done, he still continues to enjoy, rolling in that mire with all these piglets and, his wife and children. He's made a family. How cute is that? He's enjoying that, that life. And suddenly, then Shivji, all the gods go to Shivji and they say, please bring back Lord Vishnu. Look, he's enjoying very happily on the planet Earth, so bring him back. Then Shivji comes and, he says, Vishnuji, please come back. And so he's not listening. He's saying, I'm very happy here. So Lord Shiva had to use his trident and kill the pig. Then Vishnu comes back. This is how it is. We also forget and get lost in this material worldly enjoyment, thinking that this is who we truly are. No, we are not that. You're the divine being. Recognize, rise. Every Veda, every Shruti, every scripture is saying that. Why are you wasting your time? So rise, awake right now. Those who are rolling in the slumber of ignorance, which is the seed of all calamities, they should wake up in good time and drink the nectar of the knowledge that the Guru gives. And to get it, surrender in all humility at the Guru's feet. He alone knows what is proper and what is improper, while we are but ignorant children of his. Please know that. Only the Guru Dev knows what is right for you and what is wrong for you. What is perfect or imperfect, he alone knows. So let him decide what is right for you, and you will just have to graciously accept that which comes to you naturally. Take it as a prasad and go on that path. Everything will be beautiful. I've always wondered, sometimes I think that this is what is right for me and I want this. But the thing that I want is what I will not get. But after that, my Guruji on his own will bless me something much beyond that, which I wouldn't even have fathomed. That's how the Lord Almighty works. And when he bestows that particular thing, it could be anything, right? A few months ago, we were actually, an example I'm giving here. We were trying to, shifting a place. We were looking for moving out. So we went and searched a lot of places, and then I finally felt, when we saw a few houses, we liked them. So I kind of said, oh, this is good, this is good. So, you already build a castle in your mind. You imagine, oh, this is the perfect place. There's nothing like perfect. You always have to evolve. There's no one absolute perfect place as such. The only perfect place is the Lord's abode. That is the perfect. Everything else always has an imperfection to it because it's created. Anything created has that imperfection. But please note that it is the perfect creation of this universe by the Lord Almighty. So coming back, so we were looking different places, and in that I liked two places, and I was like, oh, this is very nice. My Guruji said one thing very beautifully. What has to come will come. Don't bother. For some reason, I built my castle around it. Oh, this is so nice. We can do satsang here and all that. Then things didn't work out, so just let it be. Didn't even bother about it. Just 2 months ago, again this whole looking for the house came up. And then at that moment in time, I remembered one very beautiful lesson my Guruji has taught. That which is good and what has to come to you will come to you. So don't build castles around, but just see, look what is best. You have to make your offer, but what will come to you naturally on its own. That which is good, that which is there in your karma will come to you. And when this place came up, we just accepted, and you wouldn't believe, it's very beautiful. It's just amazing in the sense, I don't know what it is, but there's something beautiful about it. There's some spiritual presence. It's amazing. It just feels wow. I think I wouldn't have imagined this. It's much better than the places we saw earlier. So that is what I'm saying. What comes to you with the will of the divine, that is the best thing for you. So don't think what you want is the ultimate. Don't go by your yardstick and your mind's want and asks and imaginations or desires. Don't go by it. So always let it at the will of the Lord. What he decides for you is the best. So Jiva, with its ego of scant knowledge and all the knowing, Shiva is egoless. To realize the oneness between the two, the Guru is the only means. Guru is the doorway to God. There is no other way to realize the divine. Only through Guru can you realize the God. And by the way, that's why we're talking about the real master, not any other Guru. To remove the separateness between Jiva, the Atman, limited by ignorance, and Shiva, the Atman, limited by Maya, Guru Rav alone is powerful. Offer at Sai's feet the mind that is governed by resolutions, doubts, and misconceptions, so that Sai himself will be the doer of actions which are inspired thereafter. Similarly, offer at Sai's feet the power of doing all actions, then act as he commands and in the same manner. Very important. I think we've done this enough. Do not take the credit saying I am the doer. Just offer everything unto the feet of the divine and just keep doing it. Don't have any ego. Have humility. You just know the divine works through you. You're only a puppet in his hands. So you have to just dance to his tunes. Know that Sai is all powerful. If you act without ego, casting the burden on him, you can attain the Siddhi altogether. But if you say, I will do this, if you have conceit even in the least degree, you will see its effect at once without a moment's delay. But as for Hemant, as he turned lazily from side to side in the night of ignorance created by Maya, he experienced effortlessly the grace of Hari and Guru. And that too, by his good fortune alone, without study or effort, he enjoyed it. It seems to me as if they, that is Hari and Guru, themselves have glorified me for accomplishing their purpose. Resolving upon writing his own story for the upliftment of his devotees, Sai perforce held his hand and got the book written in great detail. Absolutely. Like today, I am just a tool here, beautifully narrating the Leela, Sai Leela. Only my Guruji is perforce working through me, and the words are of his wisdom alone. I have no knowledge. I am not somebody who knows any of this. I cannot take credit saying, oh, I know this. No, it is only my Guru's grace and the words are of his wisdom. He is knowledge incarnate. He is Sachidanand. So let us leave a beautiful garland of multicolored flowers of steadfast love in the thread of ceaseless contemplation and offer it with reverence to Sai. Let us attain to the throne of self-realization, adorning that glorious seat by our self-absorption. Let us enjoy that bliss with happiness in our hearts and without a trace of ego. Such is the unfathomable life of Sai. The tale that follows is even stranger than this. Be attentive for a moment and your ears will be purified. A series of 3 chapters will follow hereafter, in which you will see how sitting at one place Baba showed the marvel of his visions. The first among these chapters deals with Lala Lakshmi Chand, who, tied by the string of love, was led to his true refuge. How he had a very keen desire for her khichdi. With the result, the lady from Barhanpur became most eager for his darshan, thus showing the marvel of his love for the devotee. Later, Megha, another devotee, was given a vision in his dream to draw a trishul, after which he suddenly received the linga of Shiva. Many such stories will follow from now onwards, and if the listeners listen to them with devotion and faith, they will find fulfillment. A lump of salt, when dipped in the ocean, becomes one with it. So does Hemant, who surrenders to Sai and makes obeisance with love and devotion, enjoying with him the oneness of Soham. Moreover, he lovingly entreats that may his mind meditate on Sai day and night and always be alert, so that none other but Sai enter into it. May the past be erased, the end of the future be pushed further, and what remains between the two, that is the present, be always spent at the Guru's feet. So true. Let's not bother about our past. The past is something that Guru will take care of it. The future also, he will take care of it. When you just surrender in the present moment at the lotus feet of the Guruji and exactly do what he ordains you to do and obeying his command, you will attain your spiritual meal. So we have ended with chapter 27. Let us begin with chapter 28. A narration of visions. Sai is not confined to one place. Sai dwells in all things, living and non-living, right from Brahmadev down to the insects as tiny as an ant or a fly. He pervades them all and everywhere. Perfect as he is in the Shabd Brahma, Vedas, Sai gives the mark of the Parabrahma. Being thus perfect in both, he is most befittingly a Sadguru. Though he be possessed of profound knowledge, if he cannot instruct the disciple or fix himself in his true self, then such a Sadguru is of no use. The mother gives birth to a child's physical body, but this birth is followed by death. Far more compassionate is the Guru who destroys this birth-death cycle. Absolutely. Guru is that greatest mother, my Krishna Ma, who today has taken, me under his refuge. I've taken refuge under the lotus feet of my Gurudev, and under his wing. He's the greatest mother on this planet or this entire universe, who is now making me evolve on the path of spiritual and redeeming me from the birth-death cycle. It's when I say birth-death, yes, you have to be born and you're coming here to serve a purpose. That's a different story. When we say that birth-death, it is like, removing all your karmic bondage, where you have to keep taking that birth-death cycle so that you come to, redeem your karma connected with those material worldly people. So that is what he cut asunders. He he erases off your past, your future. Only your present is what you have to go through, and that is also cushioned with the grace of your Guruji. That is what it is. Your agami is completely destroyed. Your sanchit is, your past karma. Everything is gone. Only your prarabdha karma is what you have to go through, but that also is cushioned by your grace of your Gurudev, such as my great master Krishna Guruji. And now, to pick up on the threads from previous chapter, listen to this chapter about dreams. How Baba appeared in the dreams of the devotees, giving them darshan in this way. To some he said, draw a trishul, trident. From another he asked for khichdi. Yet another he appeared as a schoolmaster and cane in hand thrashed his back. Going in their dream, he frightened some just to free them from their addiction to alcohol, saving them in this way from many calamities. He would create in them a fondness for himself. It has already been described in chapter 13, which the listeners know already, how he trashed the back of someone, cramming his chest with a muller. Most extraordinary is the tale that follows. Blessed will be the listener and also the narrator. Both will sit still, totally engrossed, and will experience an everlasting joy. The sins of listening of false, malicious tales or censures, etc. will be washed away. Let us relate again and again the ever-sacred purifying stories of the saints. Absolutely. Now, O listeners, listen attentively to the story which will reveal Sai's kindness and compassion at every step. Raleigh Brothers was a firm of Greek traders who used to trade all over India and had their offices in various cities, with one such branch also in Bombay. It was here that Lakshmi Chand was working under their officers at that time. In this job as a clerk, he was most trustworthy and obedient. In the beginning, he was in the railways. Thereafter, he worked in the Venkatesh printing press when he first came to enjoy Sai's company. Listen to how this came about. My man, even if he be in another country or thousands of miles away, I shall bring him to me, tying a rope to his legs like the young one of a sparrow. Many a time had Baba spoken thus, and so many people had heard it. It was their experience too. Let me now narrate this Leela of Sai. There were many such children in various countries whom he had brought to Shirdi, and amongst these was Lakshmi Chand, a simple trusting child of Baba's. It is only when the prarabdha karma accumulated over many births rises into ascendancy and the darkness of ignorance born of Maya is dispelled that one is blessed with the holy company of the saints. Oh my God, this is so very true, and I have to give you a couple of instances. I'm going to give you an example of my own life story. I know my Guruji since 1995, when he as a body had moved to Bangalore, and he had established a business, and he was based in Bangalore. Though I know him since then, he found me as his disciple or a student or a devotee only in 2009. But when his transformation began, in the spiritual world in 2001, I think I've already narrated this story. My Guruji had achalasia cardia, a kind of a rare disease. So the doctor almost declared him dead on 3rd March 2001. On 4th March 2001, he just woke up and sat. And since then, he was not the same being. It is said, the Guru, the Parabrahma, the Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, the divine manifested through him. And any scripture that he opens, the knowledge just flows from his mouth. It is self-revealed. He has never studied any scriptures, but that's who he is, okay? Since then, though 2001, and every single year I would meet him, but I never could see him as my Guruji. I didn't know much, though he would say things. I've met him on a continuous basis. But the most beautiful thing that happened, and I still remember what he said to me. He said, when the time is right, you will come to me. That's very, very true. And after meeting with him, I asked him, why is that I didn't meet you earlier? Why didn't you come in my life much earlier as my Guruji? Why is that it had to be at this time? And that time he mentioned, it is only when the prarabdha karma accumulated over many births rises into ascendancy and the darkness of ignorance born of Maya is dispelled. In the sense, it's not just completely dispelled. It means that you have whatever the karma that you have to finish it off till that point, and only then after that you can meet your Guruji. Your Guruji, okay? Not before that. That is when you will come into the contact of that such a rare and a real master. It's not you find him, he finds you. But your innermost quest has to be there, okay? That is something you have to always put effort. You have to constantly keep seeking it. But at the appointed timing, at the God's appointed timing, he will find you and he will pull you from you, like he'll pull that string and he'll pull you towards him. That is what it means. And this is very true to every disciple, every devotee of his. This is how they all have come at different moments. Through, either they will get to know through some person, an example. My own, uncle, a distant relative. Now, he's also my Guruji's disciple. But I'm not going to say that, oh, it's I who introduced him to my Guruji. No. I am only a tool. I'm just a conduit. But it is my uncle's, who's also the disciple of my Guruji. It is his destiny or that moment when that perfectly had come. My Guruji just used me as a tool for him to come to him. So I am nobody to, bring anybody to my Guruji. So the same goes for everybody. It's the Guru themselves use different methods to make sure the devotees or the disciples have, come to them at that perfect timing. Similarly, another student of my Guruji who is based in, a foreign country. Now, she had been following him for a long time and she got to know about him through a podcast. So the Krishna knows all the satsangs are available in the podcast. We have about 1,500 channels. It is available. So you can even download the podcast and listen to it while you're driving or while you're doing your work. It will definitely give you a lot more knowledge and you'll understand what spirituality actually means and how do you live and conduct in this, in this material world too. So coming back, so through that podcast, she found him. And then at the right time, she connected with him. And since then, that journey began. So this is how the great masters work. So it's not for you and me to decide when I want to go meet him or what it is. It is when the Guruji decides. That is when they'll bring you to them. They will use whatever means in this universe and they will, very beautifully bring you to them. And then you will evolve on the path of spirituality. But again, that journey depends on to what level you need to go and how you're going to cope up and how you're going to evolve. That depends on your self-effort. So that doesn't determine on the Guruji after that. After that, he's going to put you on the path. But how you evolve is purely based on your own sadhana, your self-effort, your hard work and everything. Again, rest is history because I think that criteria we have already gone through and we'll go through more. So let's continue now. The fire of the discriminating intellect is kindled, enkindled, renunciation dawns, bringing with it good fortune, the Sanchit Karma declines and there is fulfillment of life. Absolutely. So your Sanchit declines and there is fulfillment of life. Once the vision is filled with Sainath, nothing else can find a place there. And even when the eyes are closed, they only see Sai Baba, who is present all around. Absolutely, you just cannot see anybody else. That's your Ishta, that your innermost being. What you believe. This is my Ishta. Whoever is that one you love the most, that is what is going to be. Your eyes are going to search for that image. And that is what gets embedded in your heart. Your mind is filled with that. So whatever that image, it could be a Guruji, it could be a Sai Baba, it could be Lord Krishna. Depends on whatever image that you embed inside of your heart. That one is the one who you keep searching. And that image embeds, and that is what you will evolve on. And that's how you become one with the divine. Once I met Lalaji Lakshmi Chand, and the stories of his own experience which he narrated to me have been stored lovingly in my heart. I am most eager to tell them now to the listeners. Even the call that came to him from Baba was just one of Baba's wonderful Leela. May the faithful listeners listen to the story, bringing the heart in the ears. It was during Christmas in 1910 that Lalaji had this opportunity to go to Shirdi. It was also the first time that he had Baba's darshan directly in person, but he had received an indication of such a visit a month or two earlier. Listen to how it happened. He was then at Santa Cruz, now a suburb of Mumbai, and any such thought was farthest from his mind when he suddenly had a wonderful vision in his dream. He saw an old bearded man, a Mahatma, a sadhu, surrounded by devotees standing before him. With love and reverence, he at once made obeisance to him. A little later, Lakshmi Chand had once gone to listen to Das Ganu's Kirtan at the house of one Dattatreya Manjunath Bijuru. It was Das Ganu's regular practice to keep Baba's photograph in front of him during the Kirtan. As Lakshmi Chand saw the picture, he at once remembered the figure in his dream. The same age, the same beard, the same limbs and feet. His mind got deeply engrossed as he realized that he was the same Mahatma. The Kirtan, as it was by Das Ganu. To add to it, the story was of Tukaram, and besides, he had just had the Sadhu's darshan. Lalaji's mind was totally engrossed. Okay, I'll tell you a very beautiful story, a similar kind of an experience that which one of my Guruji's disciple experienced. What had happened, again, this happens to be my uncle. So my uncle had not met my Guruji, and neither had his wife. They had not seen him. So they had invited us, for the first time. My Guruji was going to visit their home. Just before we could arrive there, in their TV, they saw the image of my Guruji. Can you believe that? He already gave them a darshan, how he appeared. And when we arrived, they were like just shocked. And then they narrated this whole experience. And they just couldn't stop, feeling so emotional about it. They just fell at my Guruji's feet. Such is the greatness of these real masters. It's amazing. They literally saw him in the TV. He gave them the darshan, how he looks. That's beautiful. Similarly, there are many different ways. The masters, instruct, give visions. They already give you premonitions. There's so many different stories. I will save a lot of stories for you as we evolve, on these beautiful leelas of the gurus, understanding what they do. But I will also narrate many such experiences that I have had with my Krishna Guruji and also many of his disciples. Tender at heart that he was, Lakshmi Chand's eyes were filled with tears of love, and his heart felt a longing as to when he would be able to set his eyes on this loving form. All his attention was fixed only on him, whom he had seen in the dream and whose exact replica was now before him in the picture. He would think of nothing else. Will I meet a friend who will accompany me to Shirdi? When will I bow my head at the feet of the saint? When will I get this sadhu's darshan? Will I ever experience the joy of his love? Such was the constant anxiety in Lakshmi Chand's mind. Moreover, the expenses have to be taken care of. What should be done now? How can I get his darshan quickly? So he began to think of ways and means. But God is forever hungry for the love and faith of the devotee. Just see what a miracle took place. On the same night, at about 8 o'clock, a friend knocked on his door. As he opened the door to see, it was Shankar Rao, his friend, who came to ask Lakshmi Chand whether he wanted to come to Shirdi. In fact, Shankar Rao, he had wanted to go to Kedgaon for taking the darshan of Narayan Maharaj. But he then thought, let me go to Shirdi first. That for which he wanted to make every effort came walking at his doorstep. Naturally, Lakshmi Chand's joy knew no bounds. He borrowed ₹15 from his cousin, and so did Shankar Rao. Thus, they were both ready to set out. Please know this, one very important thing. When you have that innermost desire and your Gurudev is, pulling you with a string, he makes all those arrangements for you to, go to him. You don't even have to worry. Even if you don't have money, the money will come from somewhere. And if you're seeking a company, that company, he himself will send it to you. I'll give a very funny incident that just happened this evening. We were getting ready, today is Thursday. So we have to do our Thursday puja. It is our Gurudev's day. Every day we do puja in Krishna Ashram, but Thursdays are always very special because it is my Guruji's day. Because it's a Guruvar. So we're getting ready, offering flowers, everything. Suddenly one lady comes from nowhere, and then she comes and asks, she comes and asks saying, do you need flowers? I'm like, okay, you tell me, are you supplying flowers? She's like, yes, I'm finding clients here and I want to, come and give you flowers. You please buy it from me. Then as I was talking to her, I understand. Today we are, we have so many things to do. We will have to do so many satsangs and we have to do puja, everything in time. So the God himself makes arrangements so that you don't waste time driving out, trying to struggle to get those flowers. You just let her know and somebody will bring you and give it to you at doorstep. Why? Because that time that you spend going out and coming back, you can use in studying and uplifting yourself in the path of spiritual and your whatever professional world. Whatever that you have to study, you can use the time wisely. So you don't have to sweat those small things. So the universe, the Gurudevs themselves, the God Almighty makes those arrangements so that you can, get there in time or do things in time. There is the n number of reasons. See, I don't know whether that flower lady is going to give or not, but I'm just giving you an example how the divine work. You cannot even fathom it. So here is the very classic example of how Baba himself sent the person and he makes arrangements for the money to be borrowed so that they come to Shirdi. If they happen to meet people from Shirdi, they would greet them and ask them for their personal experiences of Sai Baba. No, sorry, I missed. Okay, my apologies. I missed a couple of verses here. That for which he wanted to make every effort came walking at his doorstep. Absolutely. Naturally, Lakshmi Chand's joy knew no bounds. He borrowed ₹15 from his cousin and so did Shankar Rao. Thus, they were both ready to set out to Shirdi. Packing their bag and baggage, they were ready to leave. They went to the station in good time and bought tickets, thus catching the train comfortably. Shankar Rao was fond of bhajans, so both started singing bhajans in the train. Being curious by nature, Lakshmi Chand tried to gather some information on the way. If they happened to meet people from Shirdi, they would greet them and ask them for their personal experiences of Sai Baba's great powers, which could bring them conviction. Sai Baba is a great saint and is well known around Ahmednagar, they said. Please tell us with certainty some of your own experiences. There were 4 Muslims in the compartment who came from a place near Shirdi. Talking to these brought them both great satisfaction. Lakshmi Chand, who was simple and trusting, said very lovingly to them, please tell us if you know anything about Sai Baba. They replied, Sai Baba is a great saint who has been residing at Shirdi for many years. He is a great Avaliya, a saint, and a Mahat, a Siddha. Conversing happily in this way, when they both reached Kopargaon, the Shetty, Lakshmi Chand, suddenly remembered Sai Baba is very fond of guavas, and said he, and Kopargaon produces them in plenty. They are sold on the banks of the river Godavari. We can offer them to Baba. But when they reached the bank of Godavari, the beautiful scene elated them so much that they forgot all about the guavas. And the Tonga had already reached the other bank of the river. From there, Shirdi was about 4 villages away. The Tonga started running full speed. Eventually, when Lakshmi Chand did remember, there was not a trace of guavas anywhere. Suddenly, they saw an old lady and with a basket on her head running after their carriage. They stopped the Tonga for her, only to find, to their great joy, the guavas had themselves come after them. Absolutely. This is how the divine masters work, When you also think that you want to offer something to them, and if you forget to offer, please remember that because it is a sin and a karma, so because you should not get into any sin, the divine themselves, their universe will work its magic and make sure that particular offering will be made available to you so that you can offer to them. And also not just that, and if you make any mistakes or if you commit any kind of errors in those offerings, they will accept it in a way that you will be absolved of those sins. This is the real a real thing that happens with the great masters, because they are all knowing. We human beings are so relaxed and we get lost in what we see around, all the unreal stuff. But the divine master will never forget. My Guruji will always say this, if I promise to make something for him, he'll say that, okay, please remember to make this. You have committed all of this. So for this Diwali, I've already been given the list. And yes, my commitments are there. So I have to keep it up. And if I don't keep up, once I commit something, and if I don't keep up, that's a sin that I incur. So my Guruji himself will remind, you were going to make, he likes muruku, chakli we say. It's those savories. So he likes that very much. So he'll say, you have promised to make it, so please make. Otherwise, you're the one who's going to be incurring the sin. So it is very important, when you commit to do something with the divine masters, please stick to that. Otherwise, you will not only put yourself in trouble, but you're also troubling the Gurujis. Okay, so do not trouble them. So coming back. Suddenly, they saw an old lady with a basket on her head running after their carriage. They stopped the Tonga for her, only to find to their great joy that the guavas had themselves come after them. Happily, Lakshmi Chand began selecting the fruit with great care. Of the fruit that remained in the basket, the old lady said, offer them to Baba on my behalf. Remembering the guavas and then forgetting all about them, the sudden meeting with the old lady and her devotion to Sai, all this surprised them both greatly. In the beginning, the old man appeared in the dream. I saw the same man in the Kirtan. Could this old lady be related to him also in some way? Lalaji suddenly thought, absolutely, everything is Sai himself. He manifests in different people and then comes and does his leela so that, you fulfill everything that you have to do along with them. So, however, the Tonga then drove on and reached Shirdi in no time. The banners flying on the mosque were spotted from a distance, and they both joined their hands in obeisance with great devotion. Immediately on arrival, they went to the mosque, carrying with them the puja articles. As they took Sai's darshan, their hearts were flooded with happiness and contentment. They entered the Sabha Mandap from the gate of the courtyard, and as they gazed upon Baba's figure from a distance, they were choked with a powerful emotion. When Lakshmi Chand had longed for darshan of Baba, his mind was completely engrossed at Baba's feet. He forgot hunger and thirst as he experienced his inner bliss. Taking some pure, clean water in hand, he washed Baba's feet and performed the puja rituals like Argya, Padya, etc. with an offering of coconut, bananas, etc. He burned incense, waved lights, offered pan, betel nut leaves and dakshina, and mentally made a pradakshina. He offered flower garlands and sat down near his feet. This is exactly how you need to respect and honor the great divine gurus. But this is what we have to follow. But unfortunately today, not everybody understands this. People don't even know that they have to touch the feet the moment you meet your Guruji. Any great master, you have to give them that respect. So with this, we will stop here and continue knowing what happened to Lakshmi Chand. Okay, so let us stop here at verse 61, chapter 28. So we'll see you tomorrow, same time. I hope you had a very good day and thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha, Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Devi Durga Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu, Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru.